Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I'm Asif Badi. Let's just get into it. The keys to victory. How can Philadelphia go into Tampa Bay and beat the Buccaneers? It's pretty simple. At least for Eagle fans, it's pretty simple what we can do. Evidently, the coaching staff hasn't been able to figure this out yet. But let's start off with numero uno. The one thing you got to do going into Tampa Bay, albeit without A.J. Brown, a star playmaker on your offense most likely, you need to start off fast. You need to come out of the gates punching them in the mouth. You need to score early. Get an early lead. You need to have a little bit of cushion for your defense to operate under. If that means taking the ball taking the ball right off the gate, that's what you do. You need to go and score the first touchdown of the game. Can't settle for Jake Elliott kicking a field goal here. You need to go down and get 7. Because without that, we saw what happened earlier this year when we settle for field goals. It doesn't accumulate to victories. You need to get touchdowns. That's what the playoffs are all about. And this offense, more than anything else, what this team really needs to see is this offense at a functional level where we can call a set of plays, get a drive, and come away with 7. If we see that early in the game, I think it sets the tone, not only for the offense, but for the defense to come out and say, let's try to get a stop and let's make some plays in this game. Because right now, they're kind of playing with house money. Nobody believes in them. They're trying to pull the underdog card right now, which is fine. I don't care. Do whatever you got to do to get the victory Monday night. So coming out early, get 7, whether that means starting off with the no-huddle offense, whether that means just, quick passing game, just to get these guys moving really early. Getting Tampa Bay to get on their heels on the defensive side of the ball is going to be key right out the gate. The number 2 way to win this game, and it's pretty simple, it's pretty cliche, but it's pretty apropos, is to keep your game clean. No turnovers. This offense all year, Jalen Hurts all year has been riddled by turnovers. We get in scoring position, and all of a sudden we turn the ball over. We get close to the end zone, and we turn the ball over, losing opportunities not only to come away with 7, but hell, to come away with 3, just to get some points on the board. I'm convinced that most of the games that we've lost has come down to turnovers, as it usually does. But you know what? I can guarantee you this. If we don't turn the ball over, all of a sudden the noise about whether or not this team is collapsing or this team is breaking down the scene, it's non-existent anymore. Last year, with Shane Steichen in the offense, while it was more creative and it was more, fast-paced and the creativity was there, we didn't turn the ball over last year. We were really, really good in that department. And this year, whatever the reason may be, you could blame it on design, you could blame it on scheme, you could blame it on the play calling, whatever the reason is, or execution if you want to go that route. It's the fact that we've turned the ball over that's put us in such a deficit on the scoreboard and, quite frankly, in the standings, and why Philadelphians have no faith in this offense at the moment. So you need to make sure you keep the turnovers low. And make sure you're not taking shot plays, because that's most of the time where these turnovers are happening. You're taking ill-advised shot plays, throwing the ball up for grabs, and all of a sudden it becomes a turnover. So you need to keep that in mind. No turnovers and starting off with a lead. And the last thing this is going to be a pretty quick episode, guys. It's pretty simple as how we're going to beat Tampa Bay. I got to get some water in my belly here, guys. The last key, in my opinion, to beat Tampa Bay on Monday night, you need to sustain long drives. You must sustain long drives as an offense. We saw it week 3 against Tampa Bay. We finished the game with a 9-minute drive to close it out, where Tampa Bay didn't touch the ball again. And if you do that by committing to running the football. And I talked about this in a previous episode as to how the injuries to A.J. Brown, and how even Jalen Hurts' finger right now may be a blessing in disguise. I'll put it in the card section somewhere up at the top of the screen. Just click on it. It'll take you right to that video. But I talked about how injuries to those guys and the limitations right now that Jalen Hurts has throwing the football due to injury may just force the hands of Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni to commit to the ground game, which is something that Philadelphia Eagle fans have been clamoring for all season long. We've been waiting for this part of the year for us to look at this team and say, what can you do? Most fans, and I think everyone agrees, they're not going to get to the Super Bowl. I don't think there's any chance in hell, not with the way this defense has been playing and the way this team has been playing the past few weeks. But for one night, for one game against Tampa Bay on Monday Night Football, this team, I believe, can muster up just a scintilla of pride and come out the gates and punch this team in the mouth and remind everybody that this team really has the potential to go on a run if all the cards are played right. Will they be played right? I don't know. But that's a whole different discussion. The keys to victory is what I'm talking about here against Tampa Bay. It's running the ball, getting long drives. And you know what that also does? It keeps our defense off the field, limiting their snap count, and quite frankly, anything to get this Eagles defense off the field is worth it. So let's just keep doing that. But not only does it keep them off the field, limits their snap count, it keeps them fresh. If you could sustain long drives, it'll force Tampa Bay to become one-dimensional. Now, they've been dealing with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, and I love me some Baker Mayfield, the Muffin Man, longtime supporter of Baker Mayfield right here. But if you could force an offense to be one-dimensional, no matter what level you are on, it just helps the defense out that much more. Has it helped Philadelphia this year? Not necessarily, but maybe, just maybe for one night, it could force this defense to stand up and cause a turnover. Maybe get home, get a sack or two at the quarterback. Create pressure that it hasn't been the past few games. If you force Baker Mayfield to turn the ball over by sustaining long drives and having them become one-dimensional in the passing game, you have a really good shot at victory. I think Tampa Bay this year, when they've turned the ball over, they've lost every game that they've turned the ball over in, or at least when Baker Mayfield's thrown a pick, except against Carolina, Tennessee, and I think one game against the Saints. Other than that, for the most part, and then I think they had one game against Atlanta where he threw a pick and they won. But you get my point here. Every game that they've lost, you look at it, you'll see a Baker Mayfield turnover, a Baker Mayfield pick, a turnover battle differential in favor of the opposition. Running the ball forces the other team to become one-dimensional and thus increase the likelihood of a turnover to occur. If you could force this team to turn the ball over by running the football, you have a good shot at winning this game. And who knows? In the playoffs, like the old cliche is, it's 0-0. All teams are even at this point. And who knows? Can Philadelphia muster up one game against Tampa Bay and have it be enough momentum to go into the second round and maybe cause an upset? Who knows? But we can only control what we can control here. And the thing that you can control is starting off early, starting off hot. Number one, come out with a lead. Number two, keep the game clean. No turnovers by Jalen Hurts. No fumbles. No ill-advised shots down the field. Keeping the passing game short and clean so that it's easy for you to operate. And then lastly, running the ball to sustain long drives. That's the way to win this game. You do those three things. If you come in Philadelphia to Tampa Bay and do those three things, you're going to win the football game. And maybe, just maybe, the noise and the heat around Philadelphia tends to temper down just a little bit, at least for a week. And then we'll see what we have to do in the next round against whoever it may be, whether it's the Cowboys or the Niners, if they beat Green Bay. That's all I got. That's my keys to victory. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. And please be honest about the comments. I really would love to engage with Eagles Nation there. Check out Instagram at the Riding the Bench Podcast with a K instead of C in the word podcast. And another thing you could do, check us out on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it. We're most likely on there. So please subscribe over there on those audio platforms. And on that note, everybody, that's all I got. I appreciate you listening to the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. Please tune in next time for the next episode of the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast, baby. Go Birds!